Um, this is our monthly complimentary event offered by the Institute for Next Level Leadership. My name is Inely Cesna. I'm the founder of the Institute for Next Level Leadership. I'm very happy to be here with you today, those that can be present in person and those that may come online or watch this video at another time. Welcome and thank you for being here with us. So first of all, I would like to mention that we are so happy. This is our 12th monthly event, monthly complimentary event. We started this a year ago in October. And so we are completing now a whole year of monthly complimentary events, and we intend to continue with them. We are also very proud to announce that October is our third year of the Institute for Next Level Leadership. We've been offering programs for 3 years now, and we are happy to have graduated amazing participants. And we hope to continue strong and stronger as we move forward, inviting each one of you that are listening to us to come join us, come to one of our programs, one of our events, or participate in whatever way you would like. So today I want to introduce my co-founder, Michael Murphy. And here he is.
Hello.
Yes, Michael Murphy is the co-founder for the Institute for Next Level Leadership. I invite you to join the screen and not have half of your face out. All right, so today we're going to talk about, do you have inner leadership?
Very exciting topic.
Yes, well, the leadership has been a passion of ours for a long time. And although the Institute, as I mentioned, has been around for 3 years, the work that we do in the Institute has been our dream for many, many years, over 2 decades. So for 20 years or more, we've dreamed of doing this work together. And you would think that we would know a bit about leadership, right? Because, I mean, Mike has been the president for multi-billion-dollar corporations all over the world. I've led groups of attorneys around Americas and Africa, over 30 law firms at once with lawyers and cases. And so you would think we would know a bit about leadership. But the point is, the more we engage into the work that we are doing with the Institute for Next Level Leadership, the more we learn about leadership, or at least the next level of leadership. Within the Institute, our mission has been to empower leaders from within. To empower leaders from within. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, I do. It's something that probably one of the underlying beliefs that we had and still have is that we all possess all the requisite skills and abilities to lead. And I pause there because we believe that it starts from within. And if you can lead yourself from within, you can lead anyone, anything, anybody, any organization, any group, any family, any event that you may be participating in. And I'll give you just a little hint of an example of people like this, because you know them. You know them. We've all worked for leaders, and I put that in quotes, and they've basically been our bosses. And we do what they tell us to do, but we don't necessarily follow those people. We follow people who exhibit through their behavior that they believe what we believe, that they understand the value of magnificence of their creation. They understand the value and business of human capital. And those are the people that we follow. And we never question why.
Right. Very good. So as Mike said, we believe everybody is a leader. And part of believing is to be and to live that leadership that is in everyone. I think our journey within the Institute for Next Level Leadership has definitely taken us into that place of what does it mean to be and to live leadership. And so we have recognized that a lot of what we see in terms of leadership has to do with what's out there in the world, what we are accomplishing out there in the world. But the source of it all comes from the inside. There is sort of a mirror reflection of what we do on the outside and what's happening in the inside. And so we've been navigating through this place of inner leadership. And this is not a common term. I think we've started utilizing it. I've never heard it before. But inner leadership is that leadership that starts from within. So a lot like Michelangelo. Michelangelo has said that I saw the angel in the marble, and then I carved until I set him free. That's the work we do in the Institute for Next Level Leadership, is to see that leader within and then carved what is not of that leader so that that leader can come alive and can be set free. But in order to do that, first of all, we need to see the leader within. Second of all, we need to know what to carve out. So how do we get to that? How do we get to see that leader within? One of our programs that has been very successful in recognizing that place of leadership within is the Enneagram Riddles program. The Enneagram is an ancient methodology, an ancient body of knowledge that maps out human nature as well as divine nature, if you will, for a lack of a better word. But it helps us see the energies that inspire us, that motivates us, that gives us life, and the ways those energies become distorted as we move through our lives. And it can turn things around in ways that are not of the next level leadership. It can takes us into our trap instead of our leadership. So what we see in the Enneagram is that there are different ways we all go about leadership, and that's normal. The Enneagram maps out 9 different ways of going about leadership and about anything else in our lives. But in those 9 different ways shows us how we are, what to be, how we lead, and how we mislead. And so understanding those dynamics becomes crucial in chipping away that which is not the leader so that the leader can be set free.
Now, and when Inely says ancient, she's talking about over 2,000 years. This concept has been around. It's absolutely fascinating, and to me, it's a key ingredient, a very key ingredient.
Yeah, so part of leadership, part of next level leadership, what we talked about is reinforced by also a strong practice of observation, meditation, and contemplation. Only having the information, the mapped out information like the Enneagram offers us in terms of what is our leader within and what's not, only the information will not do the work unless we create a practice of observation, contemplation, or meditation, whatever practice you prefer, so that we can create a context of what that is for our lives. And the leadership basics is very much based on that, on creating those practices so that we can come to recognize that leader within. Now, if there's one word to define that leader within, and this is a word that we have many lessons in our programs, but we don't have a lesson on this specifically about this, because every lesson is about this. And if there is a word to describe that leader within, that word would be balance. Balance. And each one of us are going to go about balance in different ways according to the situation and so forth.
And one of the keys here is one person's balance may actually be another person's chaos. However, the key here is to recognize when your balance is off and to have the tools, to exercise those tools that you already possess to put yourself back in balance.
Yeah, so some of these tools is what we offer also for the Next Level Leadership Program. But for the purpose of this event tonight, we want to just go a little deeper into balance. What is balance? And how do I know when I'm in balance? One of the greatest teachings of the Enneagram that supports this idea of balance is the idea that every time we come into a dualistic perspective, at either or, we are running the risk of getting stuck. We are running the risk of imbalance because it's an either or. It's either this or that. So anytime we can change a dualistic perspective to a non-dualistic perspective, there is an opportunity for balance. Now, what does it mean to get out of a non-dualistic perspective? Does it mean I have to be fully enlightened? No. And here is the opportunity that the Enneagram offers us, and then we apply very heavily in our programs, especially in the leadership basics. So to get out of a non-dualistic perspective, all we need is to find a triangular perspective. What are the three forces that are at play that can support us to find balance, to manifest something unique, that it's not stuck in the either or, in the duality view of the world?
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Keep going. You're on a roll.
So what are we balancing here? What are these three things? What three forces can we balance here? And here we have some suggestions for you. So when you think of your own leadership, the idea is, how do you balance, for example, one way to look at balance, your mind, your heart, and your body. How are we balancing that in terms of our own leadership? To the extent that we can balance that, we can show up in a whole different way.
Exactly. God, it sounds so easy.
Yes, sounds easy. But here is another opportunity for balance, is how do we balance assertion, being assertive, with withdrawal, and with being compliant. So these are three facets of balance that we usually tend to one versus another, but it's in the balance of the three that we find that beautiful spot of inner leadership. How do we balance being assertive, being compliant, and withdrawing? And how can we utilize these three forces to find that inner leadership? Mm-hmm. And the other opportunity here, the third opportunity, of course, I don't want to leave this on the dual side, so let's take it as the triangle. The other opportunity is to look at inner leadership from the perspective of balancing positive outlook, emotional realness, and logical competence. According to our personalities, we may have a preference for one versus another, but it's in the balance of these three parts that we find that sweetness of inner leadership. Positive outlook, rational competence, logical and rational competence, and emotional realness. So here's something interesting. Do you have something to say before I go to?
Not yet.
Just interrupt when you do.
I'm actually learning right now.
Okay, good.
Perfect example.
Good, because I actually did learn about this just last night, and it's just interesting that Spirit brings forward exactly what we need when we need it. Because last night, as we were thinking about this evening today, our son Cody asked us to review one of his homework, and what he's doing is he's doing a work on Nelson Mandela. And so he did a whole biography on Nelson Mandela and is doing what the message for Nelson Mandela is. And so I just found so interesting the fact that Nelson Mandela seems to have found the balance in these three levels that we talked about here in such beautiful ways. For example, let's take a look of the positive outlook, emotional realness, and logic, rational competence. I mean, Nelson Mandela was in prison for 27 years, and he still kept his positive outlook. Isn't that amazing? There is so much emotional realness in the job that he has brought forward in the world and the opinions and how he expressed them. That seems to have been well balanced as well. And a lot of logic, a lot of rational competence on how to go about apartheid, how to go about segregation through nonviolence. So that's a great example on how that leader found, that sweet spot in between these three forces. The other example that amazes me about Nelson Mandela is how he balanced assertion, being assertive, with withdrawal and being compliant. So he was able to assert himself against a culture of segregation and apartheid. At the same time that he was also withdrawing, I mean, he spent 27 years in a prison, so that's a big chunk of withdrawal, and also being compliant. So he was complying with a nonviolence perspective on how to go about this, at the same time that he was not complying with the culture of segregation at the time. So you see how he balanced these three forces of assertion, compliance, and withdrawal in such a beautiful way that inner leadership manifested through him.
Yeah. And some of the underlying issues that go around with that we teach not only in the basics but in the mastermind program, we facilitate a process where it's very, very important to know who you are, who I am. Important for me to know who I am, what I believe in, what are the things that I'm willing to stand for, and I remember telling the group that we were working with in the last one that when I was young, I had about 27 things that were really important to me, and now I have 3 because the others became incredibly inconvenient. Now, 27 years in prison for what you believe in is not incredibly inconvenient. You clearly know what Nelson Mandela values. Clearly know.
Yeah. Now, to finalize here, does this mean that in order to have our inner leadership, we have to be Nelson Mandela? No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, Nelson Mandela happens to be a famous person, and it's wonderful to have his life examples so that we can watch and observe what he has done. But do we have to be him? No, we have to be us. And how do we start being us? By really taking a look at who we are, how do we lead, and how we mislead.
And how does that manifest in our behavior?
Exactly. So that's another pitch here for the Enneagram riddles, because the Enneagram is a tremendous map to help us see who we are, how we lead, and how we mislead. Because by understanding that, we can start balancing ourselves into that sweet spot of the inner leadership. So we've talked for a while now, and we would like to know if the people present here are interested in doing a little breakout room to discuss inner leadership. Is that a yes? If it's a yes, you can, yeah? All right. Okay, it's a yes. I see a heart there. So we're gonna have about 15 minutes, 7 minutes to each person. You can do one and another, or we can just do this in terms of a conversation for 15 minutes in a breakout room. And what you're gonna talk about is, how do you see inner leadership through the perspective of these three, or let's do two, through the perspective of two triangular balance. So how do you see your inner leadership by balancing emotional realness with logical competence and positive outlook? How do you see your inner leadership manifesting by balancing emotional realness, logical competence, and positive outlook? That's one way to look at your inner leadership. Another way to look at your inner leadership, and you can choose here one or another, is how do you see your inner leadership by balancing being assertive, being compliant, and withdrawing? How do you balance these three ways of being and relating to find that sweet spot of your inner leadership? So you can talk about those two possibilities, or you can choose one over the other, whatever way you prefer. But how do you find that balance in between these three forces? Emotional realness, logical competence, and positive outlook, or being assertive, being compliant, and withdrawing?
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.